Check. 3, 2, 1. What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spear, presented to you by NoleGameday. We are here live on Thursday evening here in Tallahassee and down near Bradenton. We got a little bit to talk about this week. Not a whole lot on the docket this evening, but there's some juicy things that just happened a couple of hours ago that we will discuss with some Florida State staff additions, along with some recruiting we'll go through. We'll talk a little bit about the spring, just an early couple thoughts on it heading into there now that a lot of the early enrollees and the transfers are in. Transfers also had a lot of interviews this week. We spoke with a lot of those guys, so we'll discuss that. Where will Jameis go? And there's a few NFL players.
Check it out.
Playing the AFC NFC Championship. What's going on here?
Check it out.
Oh, my God.
Check it out.
I don't know about that. I feel like the avatar could be better, Nate.
Check it
Got
out.
a nice little fist bump in there.
The boneless buddies. Boom.
Is that you and Dustin fist bumping in the picture?
Yep.
I can respect it. I don't respect it really, though. You know that I sent the boneless buddies, the girls that were watching that watched the show. They were at the basketball game. I threw them some merch, but it's not boneless buddies merch. You're not even giving your fans merch yet, and I'm.
But I've already started working on the, the trailer. But how long was it before you actually put out NoleGameday merch? What, 32 years or how long it's been?
Do I look that old?
It did take a while. There's a whole supply chain here, and we've got to figure out logistics and who's going to ship our stuff. There's just a lot.
We're doing this. We're doing this for real. This is going to be what catapults NoleGameday into probably global phenomenon.
That's right.
It's going to be quality. We're not just going to pawn off 30-cent shirts for $10 like you do.
Yeah, we're not going to go buy
we're not selling
Gildan T-shirts and big. Oh, here you go.
We're not selling them. We're not selling
What's the return on investment on that, Logan?
Giving fans the chance to actually show off our brand and show support to us that they want to do. And they're free. We send the shirts off for free. So if you just send a DM.
That should tell you the quality of the shirt. Ours are going to be for sale.
Yeah, they're going to be branded up. But let's start getting into some FSU talk before we start losing every
underwear.
Underwear, oh my God, Jesus! Yeah, you have to have underwear after eating boneless wings, honestly. Yeah, because they're awful and you'd be. Never mind. Let's go into a lot of stuff here. As always, you can listen to podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Make sure you hit that like button. We had over like 15, maybe 20,000 views and listens last week. So I don't know what we're doing right. I don't know what's happening, but appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening on a kind of a slower week. But we do have a little to discuss this evening for sure, because we have a former, let me start off with saying, Hear the Spear alum, one of the founding fathers of Hear the Spear, Cory Fuller. There's a report today from Allison Posey, if I'm saying that correctly, right, Dustin?
Yeah.
WC. I probably should have had this pulled up. I'll pull it up in a second. From Allison Posey here in town, reporting that Florida State alum and NFL player Cory Fuller is expected to join Florida State staff. It's not really confirmed yet by the school, not fully public yet, but it's a report that he'll be joining in some regard of helping recruiting, most likely maybe a director of player personnel. We'll see if that comes into fruition, but that is the report that came out earlier this evening. Thoughts on that? I mean, I've got a lot to talk about it, but I think it's great.
Does that mean Chuck Cantor's out? I guess that's what that means.
I would think there's most likely something going on there.
I love it, man. Cory Fuller was a damn good player. Florida State had a 10-year NFL career, after his time at Florida State, and has been one of the best, high school coaches in the state of Florida, since he, left the NFL. Just that video alone, and how he can motivate and how he connects with these young kids is going to be phenomenal. Having a local guy that's tied to Florida State and, has been around the area for as long as he has, man. I'm pumped about this one. And, it's a W versus, Deion Sanders. He's trying to get Cory on his staff now for, 2 2 years now or 3 years, however long he's been, quote unquote head coach. So, that's a nice little, response on that one. So it's huge for FSU in terms of, for me, a representation of FSU, and guy has been there for the dynasty era, and also just, you can tell he's a guy that takes no shit. So I'm excited for it.
For sure. You're bringing back a former Seminole who wasn't just great in Tallahassee, but now he wants to come back and make the program great again. And, he's got that NFL experience and just so many ties to the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm.
Coach for a little bit at FAMU, had a couple stints at Gadsden County, even back when it was called East Gadsden, and also coached at Godby, graduated from Rickards, like you said, native Tallahassee native. So just a lot of ties to this area. And, over the last couple of recruiting cycles, there's been some guys that Florida State has missed here, probably the big one being Terry and Arnold. And maybe that can help them just take back control of the 850.
Yeah, no, his presence here, at least locally, that's the first thing I think of, at least recruiting-wise. Florida State has had some slip-ups in the past on not being able to keep some really good talent here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this really helps in that factor, along with also Florida State bringing in an alum alone, bringing a guy that had a big-time presence during his time at Florida State, went off to the NFL, had a successful career, went into coaching after that, and has done a really good time for himself in this town, and has really big time respect. And his time at Godby too, luckily whenever we had him on the pod and he was a co-host, I spent a lot of time with him over there at Godby and got to see him coach. And then whenever he went over to East Gadsden, spent some time there and just got to see what he was working with facility wise and how he was trying to improve these high school players, develop them and be there for them. I mean, I remember watching him. He'd take about 4 or 5 young men to practices, and then he would be telling, all right, which house are you going to, which house over here? I mean, he was taking everybody back home just to kind of get these young men in a good spot and get them in pads and try to have them, in a good direction. So seeing him, behind the scenes and all that is really cool. And I'm wondering how that will work being introduced into Florida State. But just the whole storyline of what he's done here in Tallahassee has been phenomenal. And we're hoping to have him on potentially for a pop-up pod tomorrow before he does join Florida State staff to kind of discuss, what made him decide going into this, because, we talked about earlier last week, and, he said he's focused a lot on family too. And his son has a really bright future in baseball, and, he wants to stay local. And so he's big on high school and coaching high school. So I'm interested to see what kind of role he's really going to play while at Florida State. But it also goes to show Mike Norvell, man. I mean, he's trying to make these moves as much as possible, not only on the field, but off the field. And, I think this is an excellent hire for Florida State. And like you said, Nate and Delu, I mean, that video alone of him out in the rain, he brought his players on a bus out to where he used to live and talk the true stuff, the real stuff about what he went through to grow up, mature, and develop his own self into being an NFL caliber talent. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully, we're texting back and forth here, hopefully be able to get him on here to discuss and talk, tell you guys a little bit more information, what he can give, and get to know him a little bit better. But I'm happy for him, just as a friend, happy for Coach Fuller.
I love, I love the move, man. It's strong move. So
another former Hear the Spear alum doing big things. We just get used to it around here.
It's hard to tie him down. Our first pod, we were over at Cory's house, and we didn't know what in the hell.
Sure, you want to talk about that?
Well, we didn't know what in the hell we were doing. We had no idea what we were doing. But Cory,
who'd you bring on for that episode?
Prime time. We just want to see what Nate's gonna say, but seems like the Twitter world likes it.
In order to keep the relationship with him good, I will refrain from talking about Deion Sanders and giving my thoughts.
Yeah, the two are very close. The two are definitely very close.
Turn them down, though.
Yeah. It seems to be so. And he just tweeted a couple of minutes ago saying that he's kind of confirmed it and is thanking everybody for everyone congratulating him. So I'm interested to see literally, what that role is going to look like for him. I'm definitely excited and interested to see. So we'll keep an eye on that and hopefully be able to talk to him soon.
Steve, like I told you, Steve, like I told you on Facebook, I may be old, but at least I'm not bald or premature balding like you are.
Damn. Jeez, Steve, you can let him talk to you like that. Jeez. Yeah. So Steven here commented, Nate is so old.
That was personal.
And we got to say happy birthday to Nate too. This is kind of belated, but birthday on Wednesday. How's it feeling yesterday? Like, how are you dealing with it? Things.
How old are you now, Nate?
I am 44 years old, dude.
Damn.
That's crazy. Damn like that.
Well, I just mean that's crazy.
I know.
What's crazy about it?
Yeah. What's crazy is that like I'm 44.
Yeah.
I don't look a day above 20. But my body feels like I'm 60. So.
All those boneless wings, man.
No. I don't think it's enough boneless.
Not enough. If you ate more, then you'd look a little bit better. You need to be eating more. You need to put on the diet.
Nah, since I had the Rona last year, man, I just that extra, energy levels hasn't come back.
I feel that. No, there was a comment in here too talking about Cory Fuller knowing how to coach too, and that also brings in the aspect: does this only develop him into growing into becoming eventually taking a role on field coaching? That really depends on him and what he wants to do. But like I said, highly, highly respected, and had potential offers from all different kinds of places across the country. I mean, we're talking a lot of places, but Tallahassee is home to him, and really to his heart. I've seen it firsthand, man, how much he cares about young men.
It's clear he likes to work with young guys. So, whether it's on field or off field or, I think this role fits him of player development. It takes a lot on and off field to develop a kid in college. So I think that this role fits him quite well.
I agree. Yeah, and I just think he's a leader of men. You see the work that he's done over there in the high schools in Tallahassee, and it's just impressive. He gets a lot of guys to the collegiate level, and he's focusing on the stuff off the field as well as on the field. And he's just an impressive hire for the staff. I think it can only be a benefit, a positive.
Yeah, I mean, Nate, you probably really like it. You really got to see him play, but bringing that, he's seen how it works. He's seen the hard coaching, the tough coaching, the grit. I mean, you bring that now into Tallahassee, and you bring that to Florida State's program and the more. I mean, I'm really interested to see how things work with Cory in there. It's gonna be fun. Let's talk about some interviews this week. We got to speak to a lot of guys and new transfers, and one of them actually being today, Trey Benson, Oregon transfer running back. He kept it kind of short a little bit. He talked about his development from his injury and how he rehabbed it and he came back. And he said he kind of has a chip on his shoulder. He was answering one question. He kind of got fired up, and he admitted, said, I'm kind of fired up right now answer these questions because I feel like an underdog. He stated that he doesn't expect to come in as a primary back, but I am going to compete. But, I think he saw the Twitters. He saw maybe the Discord messages. He saw everything. So he knows what's going on. But I thought today he really kept it about as good as he could and said, I'm here to compete, not expect to be primary back, but I feel 100%. And he's been 100% for a while now, and he's going to be a full participant in the spring. But I thought that was a pretty good interview today from Trey Benson.
No, it's going to be year 2 off the injury. So, it's going to be better than last year for him personally. Like I said last week, man, I don't think FSU makes this move without, vetting the whole thing. So, You know, I know some people on Twitter were just bitching and moaning about it because of the injury.
Are you surprised?
No, not surprised at all. But, you know, the kid has tools, man, you know, and let's really not focus on the injury itself. You know, the recovery of things is so much different than it was even 5 or 8 years ago. So let's wait and see.
Then we also got to talk with Johnny Wilson, transfer wide receiver from Arizona State. He talked about really what I came out of it was his physicality. He likes to play nasty. He likes to play blocking. He likes to help out his teammates. He talked about, you know, I'll do anything. If I can get my running back down the field for a 70-yard touchdown, I'll do anything. But he really talked about his advantages with his height. But, you know, he said really the biggest thing with him is coming in and trying to make an impact and, you know, bring a more versatile kind of player to Florida State's offense from what they've had in the past. And so I thought that was a pretty good interview from him. We got to hear from Dustin, who, you know, really was short with things, kind of kept it straight up and stuff like that. But you could tell, you know, he's still learning Tallahassee. But he'd mentioned, though, being around in Florida and back near home, his family is able to come drive up now only about 6 hours instead of 36 hours, which were they were traveling, and they don't like flying. So they were driving to these games up there in Eugene, Oregon. So a lot more closer. So he said that.
Well, he wasn't in Eugene, Oregon. He was in Illinois.
I mean, I'm going back to Trey Benson. I'm thinking all about Trey Benson right now. But going back to, Greedy Vance. There's so many that I couldn't even keep up with. But Greedy, I thought was a pretty decent interview. He was just kind of short with things, but he is excited about helping out this wide receiver room. I mean, if you think about it, that whole thing is revamped like crazy.
I thought it was interesting too. Wilson talking about how, you know, he kind of insinuated that he kind of initiated the contact somewhat with FSU, you know, put out that olive branch to start and kind of got the whole ball rolling in his favor. So.
We still talking about Wilson?
We can talk about anybody now. It's open floor.
I just remember one of the quotes I read from Wilson talking about the tour of duty and how it's kind of, I guess, maybe shocked him a little bit with how much they're doing. And just, Logan, you probably have the full quote, but he was just talking about how intense it's been so far, and he already feels like it's paying off.
Yeah, no, he mentioned on here, I'll read it, but he said, he talked about the strength and conditioning program, Coach Storms, and how it was kind of a wake-up call the first week, but he feels like he's already faster and stronger than he's ever been. And, you know, a lot of these new transfers, from what I've been told, you know, kind of was a little bit of a wake-up call because, you know, Coach Storms and his staff, too, are really strict, definitely at this time of year. But it seems like, you know, these guys, from what they were working with in the past, this is kind of a whole different realm. This is a different kind of monster that they're getting introduced in. And I think it was tough for a few of them, but Johnny Wilson talked about it and was public about it, that, you know, that was tough the first week, but he really has high respect for Coach Storms and what they're doing. And, you know, he's able to see improvements in his body, his speed so far. And I mean, he just got here. So, you know, give it some time too, and see how these guys work into. So,
yeah, I'm anxious to see how some of these transfers look in spring. You know, that's when we're going to get the first real look at them.
Yeah, no, you really get a first. Well, I'm excited just to kind of get there and see how these guys fit with their teammates. I mean, this is another more than a handful of guys that are building now relationships, even with the guys that are already have been on the teams, veteran guys that have newcomers on that are the same age, have been at other programs, and how that aligns. And we've seen that it's worked out pretty well. Definitely last season. I wonder if that will continue with this new batch coming in. But it's been cool to hear some of these transfers talk about, you know, they played NCAA 14. They played with Florida State all the time, and they knew of the war chant. And they knew of how Doak is and how loud it can be. And they are extremely excited about coming in here and playing. And everybody kind of has a pretty good vibe to them from what I got out of it this week from some of these transfer players. And definitely for some of them wanting to be back closer to home. It played a big deal for some of them because a lot of these guys were talents near this area. Deuce Spann was the one who mentioned that his mom and cousins are Florida State fans. So he mentioned that mom was really happy about him picking to go over to Florida State. And Trey Benson also mentioned, too, that he models his game after former FSU running back Cam Akers, who's currently fighting for a win to go to the Super Bowl.
And that's interesting because Benson is originally from Mississippi, just like Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Cam is a Mississippi legend, dude.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think he's the best high school player in the history of that state. So, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of players that look up to Cam Akers.
Cam Akers or Luke Altmaier, go.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm trying to see if there's anything else worth noting on from earlier. Bless Harris was the transfer offensive lineman who mentioned that he was playing NCAA 14 with Florida State a ton. Caden Lyles, who I think not a lot of people are talking about enough of, definitely the beard for sure, but he mentioned that he and Jordan Travis had been putting in a lot of work on the field. He felt like they've already got a strong connection, and they have really good chemistry early on. So, and Atkins told him that he'll be starting over. He'll be not starting, week one, but at least,
that's his position.
Expected to be at his position at center. Yeah. Once camp begins. But I
fully expect him to be the starter. Fully expect it. So,
what do you think? Smith moves inside to guard, or does he get bumped to the second team?
I think with that move, I think it moves him over, which I think would be a good move for him, and he can always be the backup for center. You know, as long as Lyles can stay healthy. That's keeping it real. That's been the question mark with his college career so far as health. But if he can stay healthy, he's played really well and he's played for one of the best offensive line programs in the country. So got to be excited about that move.
Mm-hmm. And then one last thing here, Tatum Bethune also joined the media for an interview and really talked about his chemistry that he already has and the relationships built inside the locker room with a lot of the players, which we know of, and we kind of expected that, and heard a lot of things about how those relationships were already built before he arrived in Tallahassee, but noted on that a few times during his interview and said that they already feel extremely close with one another. So it wasn't really, an awkward thing coming into this locker room. And he talked about Randy Shannon and said that it was a no-brainer to pick Florida State when Randy Shannon was promoted to linebackers coach. Mm-hmm. So some good quotes there from the transfers. Yeah, thanks, Randy. Appreciate it, Randy. Khalil Young is – go ahead.
That kid was damn good last year for UCF, man. That's a
tackling machine.
That's a good coup for FSU.
You line that up with Deloach, too, who really got better and improved this last season and turned into a really nice tackler and made plays. I mean, I think it's those two on the field at the same time is going to be really successful for Florida State's defense and that linebacker corps. And he brings experience, too. Khalil Young is asking if you guys could pick two teams from the Pac-12 and Big Ten to put on our schedule, who would they be? Khalil says my personal pick would be Penn State, Ohio State, USC, and Washington. Of course, when we are good again.
I'm going
like that last.
And thank you for the 10 bomb.
I'm going Indiana and
he wants Walt Bell.
You want to be Walt Bell?
I'm going Indiana and no, I'm kidding. I was going to go for easy wins, but nah. Games that I would like to see FSU play is always USC. No, I've always watched them from afar. Always liked USC. I think that'd be a fun game. And then I think Arizona State would be a fun stadium to visit, just to decide who has the best co-eds. We can finally maybe get an answer in person on that.
Well, we got our answer. Look where Johnny Wilson transferred to.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. No, I don't know, man. Really, Pac-12, there's Utah. Utah. They're a burgeoning program. It'd be fun to play them. Big Ten, always Michigan and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to go. I've got to go with Ohio State and then Nebraska, so Chubba Purdy can get the work.
Whoa,
then USC for sure, just because it's an iconic program. And then I got to go with Oregon, just because of the Norvell ties there with Dan Lanning, Dillingham. You got Meatball. There's some other people too. So it would be fun to see. It would be fun to see everyone match up.
Yeah, I think we're in the same Pac-12. I got Oregon got to make up for that 2014. And like the comment here from Khalil, the donation saying once Florida State's back, give me Oregon, and then USC. I think would be absolutely fun one to at least attend. Hopefully it'd be a home and home. And then if I'm going Big Ten,
well, Lincoln Riley, there'll be no defense, so you don't have to worry about that much.
Absolutely, you run all over them. And then I'm going to go Michigan, and then Penn State. When I was younger, I watched, what bowl was that, Nate? I was young. It was a bowl game. I think Florida State lost that game. Someone in the comments will tell me.
That was a long time ago.
That was a blockbuster. Yes, it was a win. That was the blockbuster. Win, yeah. That was the Blockbuster Bowl. Or are you talking about the Orange Bowl?
I'm thinking Orange. Was it an Orange Bowl?
You're talking about the BCS win when they played Penn State? That was a loss.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Yeah, that was a loss. Yeah.
But then they played Penn State in the Blockbuster Bowl in the mid '90s down in Fort Lauderdale. I think it was Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. Knowles for life. Dad Gummit says if Nate and Dustin were to eat real wings, they would have a good looking wing bump avatar. I agree.
Well, I think that
they have no comment back at you. They can't fight back at you.
I think it's unfortunate that your palate's not as developed as ours is, and that you don't enjoy delicacies like we do. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Benson's a short yardage guy. The guy had pre-knee injury was a 10.5 guy. He is a bigger back, but he had really good long speed. So I wouldn't pigeonhole him as a power back. I think that's
DJ Williams.
That's it. But I think that's DJ Williams. I think that Benson, was a guy that could, one cut and go. And once he got in the secondary, there's wouldn't be a lot of guys that can outrun him. So I think he's more of a traditional game breaker type back.
This can help us lead into the spring, and this brings up a good question here from Carl. Who do you guys think, transfer-wise, will make the biggest impact? And I'm guessing this means this upcoming season. Which transfer, if you were to pick
Tatum
right
Bethune.
now? Tatum Bethune. Okay.
That's what I'm going with. A guy who, like I said a few minutes ago, tackling machine, like you said, Logan, played very, very well. Was recruited by Randy Shannon, has played for him before, so he knows, how he coaches. There is just a massive need there. I think that he's another guy that kind of fits a 4-2-5, personnel for FSU. Can play in space really good with his run fit. So I think that's my early prediction of a guy who's going to be the most instant immediate impact, however you want to say it.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one or the other, but I'll go with either Micah Pittman or Winston Wright, just because they're both veteran receivers that have been productive at prior stops coming into Florida State. Obviously, that is a room that needs someone that can come in and immediately make an impact. I feel like Winston Wright is probably that guy, but I see the same type of qualities with Pittman's game. It's just he's been banged up a little bit. So as long as he can come back healthy, I think he'll be a pretty good tool for Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised no one's picking. I'm picking Jared Verse. I think you lose Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas. I do like Florida State's, Fuller. You've got Fuller there. You've got McLendon. But Jared Verse coming in, I think, is going to be great for FSU. Definitely in the pass rush, which Florida State has struggled with years prior, not having Jermaine and Keir there before that. But, Florida State got to keep that pass rush coming because the only way to help those defensive backs that really struggled last season majority of the year. So I'm going to go Jared Verse. I think he brings a different kind of factor with speed and getting around and can fly around the field too, not just only in pass rush, but if you need a tackle, you need a big time one there in that fourth quarter that just needs to seal the game, then I'm going to go Verse there for impact guy.
Yeah, I think the discussion is that there's a handful of guys. These aren't just one or two impact transfers that FSU took in. It's a legitimate argument to look at Bethune or Wright or Verse or Pittman or Wilson or Lyles. There's a legitimate discussion for quite a few of these guys that can help this team very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Who do y'all think is going to be wide receiver 1 heading into camp? At least, let's talk spring. Let's not jump
fall
all
camp
the way into
or spring camp.
Spring. Let's stick with spring for this discussion tonight. But if we're talking spring stuff here,
well, based off experience and everything heading into spring, I would say Malik McLean will be number 1. But not a knock on him. I do think that a guy like Wright could take that number 1 spot. But I think McLean's just going to take a next step. So
I pretty much agree with that. McLean is one of the guys that's still in the room right now that aren't going to be phased out by these incoming transfers. He still has the talent and still a lot of room in his game to grow, especially going into his second year at Florida State. He's going to be a good one down the line. You saw those flashes last year. Once he starts to put it all together consistently, take it to the next level, it's going to be a beast.
He's already got the desire to block and has that physicality there. So
did against Notre Dame.
Yeah, really want to see what those quick out screens look like with McLean and Wilson, blocking to a Ja'Kai Douglas or a Woodson Wright. Those could be big time plays.
Yeah, I think McLean's going to make a big time jump, and I wish he had a little bit more targets last season. But man, I think too an X factor in the red zone. You can use both of these guys, put them out wide left and right, and you can use that to your advantage with Johnny Wilson along with McLean too. I think of Terry Wilson. I mean, he's going to play a big time factor too, and that starting lineup we're going to see too how it affects these transfers coming in. Playing time. I mean, someone's got to leave, right, D-Lou? Someone's. You got to thin out eventually, right?
Maybe even more than one. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. But when you're bringing in 4 new scholarship players, you've got to expect there's going to be some attrition from the guys towards the bottom of that unit that didn't really get a chance to contribute last year because now they're just even further down the depth chart.
Yeah,
and it's the transfer portal era, so
yeah. It is. It definitely makes it to where the off season isn't so long anymore. Now it's kind of dead, and it's kind of quiet right now. But it does allow, at least for a team that doesn't have a bowl game, we talk about it all the time, Dustin, on the phone. But now this transfer portal adds in a little bit more of entertainment and content ideas.
You talk to me about it on the phone. I just sit there and I'm like, when is he going to shut up?
Wow, that's rude. Put your camera on. Put your makeup on. Thomas is asking here, and I'm not sure if I agree with this.
I know.
I don't think I agree. Let's talk about the O-line. What's our average in the weight room and strength? Some of these boys need meat on them bones, says Thomas from Facebook. I'm not sure if I fully agree, at least with some of these youngins coming, man. I don't know if Sapp needs much more. I mean, he's gonna gain muscle and do all that. But
the young
we
kids
talked
are
about a lot of
about
this.
cleaning their body up. They're going to have to change their body structure and learn how to lift correctly to prevent injury, and lift that's focused on football. Yeah, but Florida State doesn't have they're not tiny. Their offensive linemen aren't tiny. So, I think everyone's so enamored with Bama and Georgia's offensive line, which is rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take time to get there, man.
And just to look at the guys on the roster coming back that have started games for Florida State. Robert Scott, 6'5", 312.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice Smith, 6'3", 280. He's probably the smallest guy on the roster, but at the same time, he's a pretty damn good player. You got Bless Harris, a transfer coming in, 6'5", 315. Caden Lyles, 6'3", 315. Rod Orr, true freshman last year, 6'6", 309. Thomas Schrader, who was started before in his career, injured last year, 6'5", 305. Lloyd Willis is 6'7", 327. Kaniah Charlton, 6'5", 355.
Mm-hmm.
Gibbons is 6'5", 321. Darius Washington, 6'4", 294. Like you said, these aren't little guys.
And the game has changed, man. The days of 6'5", 340-pound linemen is over. You look at the draft the last several years, the guys are 6'5", 6'6", 300. It's just a different game than it was before. So, no, I don't think we're going to see just massive, huge guys. You look at, some of the guys, Lucas Simmons, that we talked about last week, who's, 6'8", 285. He's probably going to be a 6'8", 320-pound tops guy. It's just the way the game has changed.
Yeah. Well, give it a little bit more time with Coach Storms and do his thing, but I think you're right, Nate. The game has definitely changed quite a bit, but you also don't want to screw yourself too looking at Georgia and Alabama players. Don't do that to yourself. It's not fair, kind of what's going on. You look at Wisconsin too, but I'm excited. I might be for the position group of the future right now, and it's crazy to think this, but I'm extremely excited to watch Florida State's offensive line the next couple of years progress. I mean, it's already been doing its thing, and we've seen improvements. You can look at the stats. You can see the on-field play. You can see the time that Jordan Travis is getting a little bit more. I mean, you look at it, too, last year. I mean, Florida State's offensive line was hurt from week 2, week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, and even Coach Aggins and Norvell talked about it. They talked about it after games, man. We are throwing in guys that haven't even played the damn position. They were hurt.
Didn't Gibbons get hurt week 1?
I think he was dinged.
I thought Smith got hurt week 1.
Yeah, like Notre Dame wasn't there 2 offensive linemen that were in and out of the game just from Jump Street?
Yeah, and so you can argue, you should have more depth there to bring in a guy that can play the role, yada yada yada. But this is where that offensive line class is coming in to fix that and further progress. So time does its thing, but definitely a good discussion there on that topic. We got to see a video of Joshua Burrell too. I'm secretly excited for. Really good frame. Didn't get to see him last season after injury. That was never disclosed by Florida State. Never shared, but seemed like a leg injury and wasn't able to play the season. But he gets back into the fold too, since talking about wide receivers of a guy that might emerge and come out, but it seems like he might be a potential, at least potentially near the end of the spring, a full go, if not near the beginning of it. But I'm excited about Joshua Burrell. A lot of comparisons to a former Nole Nate that you probably know a lot of, Anquan Bolden. Physical, go up for the ball, can win his one-on-ones, just, maybe isn't a speedy kind of crisp route runner, but he's physical when going up for that one-on-one grab.
Much needed. So,
yeah, but he shared a video. If you guys don't follow him, go over to his Twitter. He shared a video of him getting back on the field and working. So a good sign there for Joshua Burrell. Let's talk and hear a little bit about some NFL stuff before we get into the AFC NFC championships. Sean Payton gone. Sean Payton's gone from New Orleans. Kind of a surprise there. Seems like he may be taking a network deal. Looks like it might be Fox. We'll see what happens there. But kind of out of nowhere a little bit that he intended on retiring, I guess. He said that he's still trying to figure out things and he doesn't know what he'll do, and that's what excites him. But as we know, Jameis Winston's in town there in New Orleans, and that was the main reason for Jameis to pick New Orleans was because of Sean Payton. There was a report that the Steelers had more money on the table for Jameis, but he turned that down just to be with Sean Payton. And things seemed like the beginning of the season before Jameis was hurt, he was playing great, and it seemed like that was a good decision by the former Nole Heisman winner. But now Sean Payton's gone. What does this do to Jameis? What could this do? I don't know. I
didn't see it coming. Honestly,
I'm open arms in Pittsburgh, baby. If that happens, you won't see me on the show for a month. I'm gonna be celebrating in the
Thank
Cancun.
God. Thank God.
I'll bring my laptop to Cancun with me while I'm celebrating. No, but for real,
that's feeling like the number one option right now. I mean, depending on who the Saints hire as head coach, it looked like they were having some discussions with Byron Leftwich, or they got permission to interview him. But based on how everything's kind of unfolded so far, it looks like Leftwich is probably headed to Jacksonville. And after that, I mean, I don't even know who the Saints would go after. Maybe Eric, the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs.
Eric Bieniemy?
Yeah.
I would stay if I was Jameis if they hired Bieniemy.
Well, it's not up to him. He's a free agent.
No.
So hopefully
they're not going to roll out Taysom Hill. That's for sure.
Yeah, can you believe Sean Payton got Taysom Hill paid and then retired?
Sometimes the coach just loves a player, man. That's what happens. No, Carol, he's not. He's gonna save us all the grief and the horror of seeing his face.
I don't want to ruin anybody's evening by showing my face.
Yeah, Miss Carroll's asking, is Dustin ever going to show his face tonight? And now Dustin told us that he doesn't want to show his face tonight. He's had an emotional night and just doesn't want to show his red.
It's been rough, man.
eyes.
Like I was fighting for Nate to try and get him those shoes from Austin, and just the amount of effort I put in the last 24 hours. I can't put my camera on tonight. I'll cry.
I don't even want to talk about that. I'm disgusted. Austin just, he deserved that loss to Georgia Tech for letting me down on my birthday.
Talk some Florida State basketball.
Whoa. I'm talking about too. What about the Denver Broncos? I see that there's a few sites on here listing that might be a landing spot for maybe Jameis, but I do think the number one spot, at least for fitting the offense, Mike Tomlin and Jameis. You've got a fresh new running back with Najee Harris. You've got a young quarterback with Jameis. Reportedly, Jameis had been
got a good tight end that he likes the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Freiermuth is going to be probably a good player for them.
Mm-hmm. Got great wide receiver targets.
I wouldn't call it great, but a couple of decent options.
Get out of here!
Who is great?
I know who's great.
Deontay Johnson.
He's not
except
great.
for in the playoffs. Except in the playoffs.
So when it matters, he sucks. Okay. Who else?
Juju Smith-Schuster.
No shoulder. Keep going.
The shoulder. Yeah. He came back. Phenomenal recovery there. Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool. Don't even start. Oh, I can't even listen.
There's nothing about Claypool that's
Ray.
Chase Claypool, Walmart, Kelvin Benjamin.
Ray McLeod.
Yeah.
What did you stop? You're so lucky you have that camera off. You're smiling as much as you can. Right. Yeah, exactly. Ray McLeod had a great season. I don't know.
Who is that?
Who's that? Ray McLeod?
So I would say saying Chase Claypool is a great wide receiver, saying Jaylen Brown's a great two guard or small forward, or whatever he is for Boston. Kind of overrated.
You're really gonna do this?
Yeah,
he's better than Chase Claypool.
I don't know if this is risky just putting this on the screen, but I'm giving it to you, Nate, since it's your birthday week. Dinosaur said, Nate, my girlfriend said you look cute tonight.
Hopefully that doesn't create any, arguments
tension.
For you.
An argument tonight. Well, she's the one that said it. I guess he could.
Yeah, if you want to, hit up my DM and I could kind of coach you on how to be a pimp at 44. I can do those things for you.
Oh my God. Oh man, goodness gracious! But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with J-Boo. There's a lot of former.
I hope Jameis. I hope he gets another real opportunity. I think that he sat behind Breeze his final year. I think he learned a lot. I would have liked to see him in a full year with Sean Payton's offense. I think that we talked about it. I think a couple times on here that we all felt that the Saints would have been firmly in the playoffs had Jameis not gotten hurt. They were 4-1 when he got hurt.
I think they were 5-2.
Yeah, he was playing really well against Tampa that game when he got hurt, and it's just a freak injury. I really hope he gets a real opportunity because I think that he busted his ass to get in a great shape and to get ready for this past season, and I do think that the Steelers do kind of make sense coming off of Ben Roethlisberger, and then I'm not a believer that Kenny Pickett is a guy that should be taken high in the draft. I think that the quarterback draft, I think Sam Howell's going to be a good pro.
It's bleak.
I don't think it's a great draft. So, I think that you go after Jameis, who's still young, can give you 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, and then you go from there. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think Pittsburgh's in a rebuild mode. I think that you can get a guy like Jameis and still be a perennial playoff team. Tomlin's a good coach, man. So it's a good organization. So I would like to see him in something like that with Tomlin.
Sadly, Jameis isn't competing in the playoffs this year, but there is a lot of Florida State Seminoles, former guys, coming in to play this upcoming weekend. A win for their team would be a berth to the upcoming Super Bowl that will be in Los Angeles this year, which is probably going to be a fun one, definitely if the Rams do end up winning. But there's a handful of names like Cam Akers, Jalen Ramsey. You've got Joshua Kando, Derek Nottie from the Chiefs, along with Roderick Johnson.
So I was about to say, name the teams that these players are on for the people that don't know.
Yeah, so if you don't know, we'll start off with number 1, Auden Tate. Is with the Bengals, and so as we know, he's fighting in the AFC Championship. You've got Cam Akers over there with the Rams teaming up with Jalen Ramsey. The Chiefs include former Noles Joshua Kando, along with Derek Nottie and Roderick Johnson. Then you've also got Ryan Izzo, who was over there at Tennessee Titans. They lost, obviously, so not competing this upcoming weekend, but he did play in a divisional round there in the AFC. But yeah, Auden Tate actually just got cleared to come back, so I'm interested to see if he gets any playing time in this AFC Championship. I mean, you look at their room right now.
So yeah, so
in Cincinnati, Logan, it is pretty loaded.
That is a wide receiver room that is loaded, not Pittsburgh. You got Jamar Chase, who clearly is probably going to be competing with Justin Jefferson as the next top wide receiver in the NFL. You have T. Higgins, who is a great number 2. You have what's his face? Boyd. Tyler. Is it Tyler Boyd?
Yeah.
As a third wide receiver. You have Auden Tate, who's played really well, but he hasn't been given a ton of opportunities. That is a deep wide receiver room, dude. Like, that is what I think the Steelers wish they had.
I think any team wishes they had Nate. Don't even put on my Steelers. I think any team would kill to have
a good running back and a good tight end too.
Yep. They got it, you know.
Well, let's talk about their offensive line. I mean,
yeah, that's not the greatest.
That's probably going to be a problem. Are you sitting back like by your wall, Dustin? You just.
I guess I'm sitting back a little bit here. You want me to?
There we go. Yeah,
come a little bit closer to the mic.
Yeah, bring the mic back with you. I know it swings back. You can lean back like this.
I didn't think about it.
So for all the listeners, the reason why Dustin's not on camera is because his room is under construction after getting blasted last week for having the worst background. So
for real, man.
You know, he's doing some paint refresh, hanging up some pictures. You know, it's going to be a big. That's kind of step one of our boneless buddies rollout is what he's done with his room. So
this whole renovation project.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys just don't understand how quickly boneless buddies is going to just rocket into the. It's going to be in China. It's going to be in China, man. Like
you're going to let China get a hold of it?
Absolutely, man. You know,
depends how much they pay. I mean,
I know. Yeah. I mean, my mind's just churning about what we can do over there, man.
In China?
Goodness gracious, help us.
Yes, Cam needs to hang on to the ball, man.
That was a tough game for Cam Akers and Jalen too.
That was a great play by Ndamukong Suh, though. You know, that was just,
yeah.
You know, that one. You don't ever want to fumble the ball. Yeah, I understand that, but that was a great play by Suh. The other fumble though, late in the game, I was like, damn, man. You know, bust his ass to get back, and looks like he might cost his team, you know, a collapse. But you know, we'll see. That's always kind of been his Achilles heel. You know, which is. Is fumbling. Same thing at Florida State, had fumbles. So, got to fix that shit. Because he played really well otherwise, He those two fumbles, are what they are, but, he's come back like a freaking freight train.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people harping and getting mad at Jalen trashing him and everything. God forbid he have one slip up. God forbid against one of the best wide receivers in the league. God forbid that happen, right? But I do say that was just a great play. I mean,
also
really great route there.
Also, I don't think that Ramsey expected that pass, for one. Two, his feet got caught up towards the end of that play, which took him out of it. But that was a great route by Evans, Yeah,
it's just a great play call, great route by Mike Evans. He's done that hundreds of times before. I can
put a 20-minute video of Deion Sanders getting beat. The greatest corner of all time. Let's just all relax on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone gets beat. It's how you respond and the consistency of, I think people are talking about just damn near. When's the last time you saw Jalen Ramsey give up a play like that? I honestly,
rare. That's why it's so big.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Like for real, I cannot think of him getting beat deep like that.
I don't even think maybe Metcalf had it one on him 2 years ago, but I mean that's the thing though. That's why it gets talked about so much because it's very rare to see.
Damn sure didn't happen with the Jags.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for never mind. I'm not gonna say Big Ben throwing all over him because that didn't work out really well either.
No, that didn't work out either.
It really didn't work out good at all.
No. I mean, I want to see Cam and Jalen, win one.
Yeah.
Plus, I just want to listen to Jalen Ramsey talk shit after winning the Super Bowl. I think it'd be just absolutely gold.
It'd be great. It'd be great too for just the brand of Florida State recruiting, everything imaginable. And plus, I think I would like I'd like a Rams versus Chiefs in this one. Just more Noles in it, the better. I think it's just better. I don't even know how 49ers are in this, but
because they're
they can
healthy.
run the damn ball.
49ers are healthy now, finally. They play good defense and they run the ball well. Same thing with the Rams. The Rams are playing pretty good defense. Beckham has stepped up, which, just makes that a whole different offense. And then you add Cameron, who's running on healthy legs. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was 49ers Bengals, man. 2 6 seeds, coming in, and they're both playing well. But Mahomes, man.
Don't want it.
Mahomes, man, can never count him out.
Again.
Yes,
all right. I'm chilling. I'm getting Jameis next season anyways, win it all.
We were talking about that at work, Dustin, just how, at some point, when the Chiefs are 2-4, whatever their record was at some point, it was just a matter of time before Mahomes kind of hit his groove. And he's fully in his bag right now, man.
Yeah, he got his rhythm back, and that's all that matters. You got to be playing your best football at this time of year. That's exactly what he's doing. I didn't think anything of those struggles in the first couple of games because, you've seen it throughout his career. He's an elite quarterback. Sure, some guys are going to make mistakes every now and then, especially when you're that good. You're going to force some things that other players might not do, but he's learned from it. And, I mean, what can you say? Dude's playing phenomenal, but I'm taking Cincinnati.
What
are our picks?
Because you picked Cincinnati because that was your sleeper team when
that's my sleeper
started.
team. Yep.
No, man, I'm gonna pick Kansas City in a game that we just kind of saw with Buffalo. I think the Bengals will put points up, but I think Mahomes gonna be tough to beat at home, man. He's just on a different level right now, and I think the Rams. I think the defense kind of wins out. I think that I think that the Rams have a better offense in terms of the ability to score more consistently. I think that the 49ers, as good as they can run the ball, if they are running the ball well, I think they kind of try to facilitate or have to facilitate a lot with Deebo Samuel, who, by the way, did really well for my fantasy team this year. Thank you, Deebo.
He got banged up last week, though.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. But he got banged up last week, and apparently Trent Williams, all-pro left tackle, has not practiced this week. So
that's a problem.
They've had some injuries. Sorry to interrupt. They've had some injuries at corner too.
Yep. But
it's that time of year. Everyone's hurt.
Everyone's hurt. But for your all-pro left tackle to not be practicing, going up against that. A rejuvenated Von Miller and Aaron Donald in a Rams defense that, situationally are playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough, man. All signs are pointing to Rams Chiefs, but as we've seen in this playoff, man, it hasn't always gone as you expect. So I wouldn't be surprised if 49ers and or Bengals win.
Mm-hmm. Just being a Steelers fan, screw the Bengals. So I've got to go Chiefs and then Rams. So that's just all I got to say about it.
Bengals.
Shut up.
What's it? 4 years in a row now for Mahomes in the AFC in the championship game?
I don't want to talk about it. They're getting their time.
Yeah.
I still don't have Aaron Rodgers.
3 years in a row
lost the first time.
Mm-hmm. I still don't have Aaron Rodgers or Jameis on my team yet. So just let me get some time. It's
Mahomes. It's Mahomes' time till it's not, bro.
Well, it's not. Well, then next year it will be not because I'll have one of the two. I'll have
Joe Burrow taking that crown.
Not even worried. Not even worried about the Bengals. It was fun while it lasted. It's over. Shout out to.
Wait. Okay, I'm from outside Cincinnati. I've always supported the Bengals.
What? You're a Bears fan. What are you talking about?
I am, but I got to support the Bengals. But being in that conference or that division, man, Steelers got to worry about Baltimore. Baltimore's going to get this shit straight with Lamar Jackson.
I don't think he's going to get it. I'm not worried about him.
And Cleveland.
Not with TJ Watt on my team.
Yeah, that tied the sack record got him a great divisional round loss, man. Awesome. Woo.
Well, there's a reason why we're making some changes. Definitely in the quarterback department.
Okay.
And offensive line. I'm not worried about Lamar Jackson. I'm not worried
My
about
whole point
Baker.
is that
Burrell
my
I
whole
am
point is
because
the
of the wide receiver
Bengals-
room he has.
The Bengals aren't their only worry, just in that division alone.
If they fix offensive line, man, they're definitely gonna be a team to. I mean, they beat us both times this past season, so definitely respect to them. But you know, not too worried. Got to be honest, not too worried. Shout out to Mr. Dossie, Lawrence Dossie. We didn't talk about this earlier, but wow, this kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting. I thought that maybe he wouldn't be done coaching. But shout out to former Nole, Lawrence Dossie, also former coach. He just picked up a job as a wide receivers coach at Appalachian State. Interesting there. Shout out to
I'm going to
Mr.
withhold
Dossie.
comment. I'm going to withhold comment.
Okay. You withhold it. Hold on to it. Contain it. Keep it in.
I'll contain it. You know, I don't want to be labeled a hater.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's his first coaching job in nearly 5 years. So
yep, that's all you have to say.
I'm not.
Last time he worked was with Jimbo Fisher at Florida State in 2017.
Jake Man is saying
I don't think that he could have been removed from the Moore Center any quicker than you know.
Thought you weren't
Jimbo Fisher.
No,
yeah,
I'm talking about Lawrence Dossie.
Oh, you commented.
I can't not. Okay, let's move on.
I know it's hard for you two. That's why. That's what Dustin always eggs you on a little bit. Sean Payne also has me blocked, Jake. So we're in the club now.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen with Sean Payton. Okay,
what's he gonna do?
He's gonna go be a commentator for Fox for 1 year. He's gonna take over Troy Aikman. Gonna realize he doesn't like it, and then he's gonna go to Chicago, and then he's gonna be the next coach of the Bears. They're gonna fire Nagy mid. You know, they fired him. I need it to happen. Okay, you got
that. So they're gonna have a 1 year firing of whoever
the new coach.
Yes. Yeah. Fire him.
Wasn't that the Packers?
Yes.
That was a
fire
Packers offense.
Bring Sean Payton in.
Or am I wrong?
And then 2 years Super Bowl.
Never mind. I'm thinking someone else. Sorry. That was Matt Eberflus, whatever. Sorry, I don't know how to say his last name. But the former Indianapolis Colts defensive coordinator. What are your thoughts on
how
that?
much money Fox is offering Sean Payton for him to
a lot of money.
Surprisingly step down. You know, you got to figure it's like the John Gruden money. You know, the 10, 11, $12 million just to be an announcer.
Michael, you got to go to bed. Not if Baltimore picks up Antonio Brown, says Michael Carpenter. Don't even do it.
Well, Logan would hope that they pick up Antonio Brown. That guy's a cancer.
Yeah, helped me a ton, actually.
The last team that Antonio Brown was on won the Super Bowl, so.
Huh?
The last team that Antonio Brown was on won the Super Bowl.
Who?
Tampa Bay.
Last year.
All right, let's get to some basketball real quick and wrap this thing up.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Before we get into basketball, I do want to say that I told Austin that they were going to beat Duke and lose to Georgia Tech. And I forgot.
Was that on the podcast?
Yes.
So we can clip that and go find it. We can find that and clip it.
You won't go clip it.
That's too much work.
That was an ugly loss, though.
Yeah, Florida State falls to Georgia Tech and Atlanta. So VZ, every time
by
he
14,
attends,
by
every
14
time
points.
VZ's no longer allowed to attend any Florida State athletic event. We figured it out. We kind of got that written down. It's done. He can no longer attend them because I think he's had no wins.
Obligated to not attend any more FSU live events.
And I like how VZ now. I mean, our lead basketball writer isn't here after Florida State's extremely embarrassing loss. He's not here tonight. just didn't want to show up. He said he couldn't find Wi-Fi. He couldn't go on LTE for like 15 minutes to give us the latest on basketball or anything. And he also didn't give you shoes. He didn't even, he's the plug for shoes. He works at a shoe store. No shoes for you, Nate, on your birthday.
Yeah,
how messed up is that?
Pretty much he shouldn't be allowed on here anyway. So just for that alone.
Yeah, he's suspended from the Spear.
Yeah.
But yeah, Florida State loses to Georgia Tech.
He's on administrative leave.
Yeah, Florida State loses to Georgia Tech 75-61. At least on Saturday, Florida State did beat Miami, though. But man, I don't know if Florida State going to sneak into this March Madness or what, D-Lo? They're stretching themselves thin here on their chances of getting in. I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, it's another Q3 loss, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, and I mean, right now, 13-6. The 6-game winning streak was nice. You got some quality wins in there. Beating Duke, obviously. You beat Louisville. You beat Miami twice. So those were a couple big wins. But then losing this one to Georgia Tech, it really does hurt the resume, I think. Florida State's probably right there on the bubble. And, these last 5 or 6 weeks or so are they're gonna have to win some games, and they can't really have another loss like this to Georgia Tech. And when they get to the ACC tournament, they're probably going to need to win a minimum of 2 games as well to make sure that they have a comfortable shot of making it into the big dance. But really last night and in the second half against Miami, I kind of thought that played into last night. Just turnovers. I mean, you had 17 turnovers last night. You came into the game as the leader in the ACC in steals, only forced, I think it was 2 steals all night against Georgia Tech.
How many threes they ended up giving up?
Actually, I was kind of surprised. Only 10 out of 27. It felt like they made a lot more than 10.
Well, they hit 8 in the first half. That's why it seemed so high. That first 20 minutes, they were like 8 of 13 or something really stupid like that. And then the free throw disparity was just a freaking joke.
It's 24-16. It's not that bad because when you think about it,
at one point it was
zone defense, Florida State couldn't penetrate. They were getting to the rim not very often at all.
So every team's going to play zone moving forward against FSU.
Florida State's got a big game coming up against Virginia Tech. That's going to be on Saturday at 3 p.m. And then they'll go on to face Clemson at Clemson on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on February 2nd. So good couple matchups up next for Florida State. I do remember Austin coming on here and saying, no, after facing Miami, you go on a nice little stretch here and you should be able to get some good wins too. But sadly, he overthought Georgia Tech. I think I remember, if I remember correctly, he said that Georgia Tech is awful.
Said they were going to handle them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's no shocker here that why he didn't show up this week and head behind and didn't want to come on here. But we'll make sure to bring this back up when he's on here next week for sure to address what he said and the blasphemy. And he lied to all of us too. So brutal, and ruined Nate's birthday. So bad week, very bad week for VZ. Wish him the best. I think that's going to wrap everything up. Like I said earlier, we talked with Fuller, and hopefully we'll be able to do a little pop-up show before everything becomes official with him at Florida State. But Cory Fuller expected to take a staff job over there and join Mike Norvell and his staff in Tallahassee and get over there inside the Moore. So,
and we'll know next week the features.
The schedule.
We'll know the schedule. And then we'll also know the features of Odell Higgins and Ron Dugans.
Yeah. Is there? We'll definitely discuss that. That's definitely a good conversation there.
Let's discuss this.
Yeah, this is Stan R. asking, why is Dustin
talking about my avatar? I don't know.
Why is Dustin shaped like a donut?
Sexiest donut ever. I'd probably be a glazed.
All right. Yeah. We've got to get off of here. I don't even things are coming into my mind that I never
maybe a nice cream filled donut.
All right. Got to get out of here. Got to bounce. But yeah, appreciate everybody coming to hanging out with us this evening. If you're on YouTube right now, before you pop off, smack that like button. We definitely appreciate it. If you're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, subscribe, so then you'd be notified every time we release a new episode. We had close to I didn't check today, but close to almost 20,000 views and listens in the last episode. So definitely appreciate all of y'all for hanging out with us the last couple of weeks. So I know it's kind of thin and dry right now, not a lot of stuff going on, but we'll try to keep you guys entertained. Hopefully we don't have to bring back some of our segments that we did 2 off seasons ago, because that was scary. Yeah, that was a little scary. That was a little scary time. But yeah, any last thoughts, birthday boy? Any last thoughts, Nate? You can't say you can't say Hunter anymore about being the best player you've ever seen.
Well, he is, so that's not going to change. I'm not going to change that. But it's going to be interesting on Twitter this week when we get, I guess, the final word on Dugans and Odell, and eager to see the schedule and see how Florida State will get bent over by the ACC this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be some random 3-game road trip in late October, November. Just bet on
Michael, you missed the early talk of bonus parties. We talked about that just to start the show. Here, let me give you one. Let me give it to you one more time. Ready? Boom.
The avatar, that stock photos at its best. So you gotta. I need more original stuff there. Oh my god. Okay, now we've got to get off of here. The day is over. We're done. We're wrapping this up. Appreciate everybody listening. Everybody have a great, phenomenal weekend. And next time we'll be talking to you, we'll have a schedule to talk about. So looking forward to it. Everybody have a great weekend. Peace.